10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I have appeared. I would like to welcome everyone to our podcast today. I'm having cat problems. You always having some problems today. I would like to welcome everyone to our podcast today. My name is Lynn Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. Let me do my test to make sure everything is working properly. Give me 1 minute, please, and I'll be with you. But we're going to have a good podcast today, as we normally do. And everything is good. Everything is working properly. Excellent. Give me 1 minute, please, and I'll be with you. So, we're talking depression today and anxiety and a lot of different things. And, what is the name of our podcast today? Today, we're going over why we're so damn depressed. And my name is Lynn David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic, and I'm here every Tuesday. And we have a great show planned today, and we're going to be talking a lot of different things. And hopefully you'll be able to join in the conversation. And I'll do my best to watch the chat and see what's going on. And I want to say hello to everyone out there. And it's nice to see everyone out there. I see some of my friends coming in, and I say thanks to everyone. So we're talking today about something which is affecting a lot of people: depression, anxiety, fear, stress, pressure, sadness. We could go on and on and on. And this is something which is very strange because we're supposed to be living in America. We know this is like paradise on earth. This is like we died and went to heaven, as they tell us. And we got all this money. We got all this internet. We got 200 stations on our TV. We got this and that. We got so many clothes. We can't wear them. We can't wear them all. We have so much food in our refrigerator. We're throwing things out because it's going bad before we can eat it. We got everything. And we're not happy. This is a major problem. Okay. And a lot of people is receiving a shock. And we're going to go into this because before the pandemic, we knew we wasn't happy. And then the pandemic came along and turned our world upside down. And we was God, just let things get back to how they was before. Let's just go back to the way it was before the pandemic. And now things are slowly going back to the way they used to be, quickly going back. And we're rediscovering that we wasn't happy before the pandemic, and now we're not happy again. And we wasn't happy during the pandemic either. Maybe we need another pandemic, or maybe we need something else. Maybe we need to come up with a new disease or something. Well, how come we're not happy? That is what we're going to go over, because there's a problem with our thinking. There's a problem with society. It's not you can say it's our fault, but it's also not our fault because it is the way we was raised. And this is, we're going to go back. I'd like to go back to the beginning. We're not going back to the Babylonians, the Egyptians. We're not going back to the Anunnaki. We're going back to when we was kids. We fell for that belief. We was fed a handful of lies when we was growing up. And we still believe in those lies today. We believe that, you're Barbie, I'm Ken. We're supposed to get married and move into the Barbie doll mansion, and we're supposed to live forever, happily ever after. And we're wondering, where did we go wrong? A lot of us have the big house, we have the cars, we have the kids, we got the clothes, and we're not happy. So what do we do when we're not happy? We go shopping, we go drinking, we spend money, we go on vacation, we join clubs and and go and exercise and this and that and everything, and we're still not happy. We lost our way. Let's go back to the beginning again, when we was kids. When you look at young kids every day, 3, 5, 7 years old, they jump out of bed every morning and they're so excited to be alive. And everything in their life is so clear. You ask them what you're going to do when you grow up. What they know exactly everything. They got it all figured out. They want to save the world. They want to be a fireman. They want to be a policeman. They want to be a nurse. They want to be this. They want to be that. They know exactly what they're going to do. They wake up positive every day. By the time we get to be in our teens, 17, 18, 20 years old, some of us run off the rails by the time we're 15 years old. We're so lost and we don't know how to solve the problem. And we become more dazed and confused as we get older. And we're lacking the explanation of why. And then a lot of people want to blame people. Well, I'm not happy because those rich people over there, or because those people over there, or because those Mexicans are taking all the jobs, or because Black Lives Matters, or because of this or that, or I don't have freedom and liberty. They're trying to take my guns away. We try to blame everything for why we're not happy. I'm going to tell you why you're not happy. Because you're looking for something called external gratification. You believe happiness is something that can be purchased. You believe happiness is something you can reach out and touch. You believe happiness is something you can grab, something that has a price tag that is at the mall. You believe you go to dealers and buy happiness. Try to go to McDonald's and say, I want to order happiness with a side of joy. Okay, and see what you get. This is why our life are empty. Because we believe that the game we was born to play is the game of who has the most toys, who has the biggest house, who has the most expensive purse, who have the most shoes, how many sporting events, how many concerts we have attended. We believe that doing these things will bring us happiness. We believe that if I only could hit the lottery, I would be happy. If I could only make a lot of money, I would be happy. Do you know the more as you go up the economic ladder, the higher the suicide rate gets? Did you know that? Okay. The saying goes that poor people don't commit suicide because they're too poor to commit suicide, because they got kids and this and that, and they would, but they got too much responsibility, too many obligations, too many people depending on them. It's those rich people, the people that got everything, that living those lives of despair and emptiness. Because money can't buy, they say money can't buy you love. Money can buy you sex, but money can't buy you love. Money cannot buy you happiness. Money can give you a few minutes of joy. But after those few minutes, it's like sticking a needle up your arm. You feel fantastic for a few minutes. and then it goes away. And then you want to stick the needle back in your arm again. Some people believe that going with that super beautiful younger lady will make them happy, and they go and they give her money, and it for a few minutes they're happy, and then after that they're lonely again. True happiness only comes from one place and one place only, inside of you. It doesn't come from nowhere else. The secret of life is finding joy and happiness within yourself. And that has to start with discovering yourself, discovering who you are, and finding out what you want to do. Not what your girlfriends want to do, not because not you're a teacher because all your friends wanted to become a teacher, not because you married that guy because your mom thought he was a wonderful guy. You did everything that your friends and family and your relatives told you to do that would make you happy. They told you to buy that car, you bought it. And now you're you really don't like it. But your friends keep talking about how nice it is. We have the bad habit of doing something called herding. Okay. Herding is what cows do. They're in a herd and they do what the other cows are doing. They follow the other cows. We are not cows. We're not supposed to be herding. Okay. They don't, most people don't call it herding. They call it a nicer word. They call it peer pressure. And you're doing whatever your peers are doing. It's still herding. You got to quit being a cow. You have to, if you are lost and confused, you have to slow your life down and discover the undiscovered country, which is called you. Let's see real quick what's going on with some of these comments. Oh, we got a lot of people in the house saying hello. I see Lisa out there. I see Karen. I see a lot of people out there. Jill, everybody. I want to say hi to everyone. Janice, we're doing good. Lapita's there too. Excellent. But anyway, if you got a comment or something you would like to add, go ahead and ask the question. I'm the one man band today. I'm gonna try to do everything, but this is very important. So, how do you discover you? The first thing you have to do is stop. As long as you're moving 50 miles an hour, doing everything, you cannot discover you. You have to, I'm not saying you need to quit your job and leave your husband and leave your kids, but you got to have something called me time. Okay. And this is why we all need to take some time and to take some time and try to have some me time where we can just think. Sometimes, if you just need to sit in the car or go in the backyard, or if it's too bad, you just need to go in the restroom and lock the door. Okay. And tell them, hey, I've got some business I need to do in here. And take 20 minutes in the restroom and just try to calm and balance yourself. As long as you are spinning out of control and you're running like a rat in a maze, you can never become centered in your life, balanced in your life. That is number one. You have to take some time to think. You have to turn off the radio, the TV, this and that, and ask the question which you have never asked in your life. Who am I? What is my reason for being? What goals do I have? What do I want to accomplish this year? Where do I see myself going in 5 years? Have you ever asked yourself those questions? Ask another question, which gets very scary. Ask the question, am I the person that I'm meant to be? Or am I pretending to be someone I'm not? That gets super scary. And this is why so many of us live dual lives. Some of us, I have came across people who are super respectable by day and got that respectable job and they wear respectable clothes and then at night they turn into, oh my gosh. You run across these same people at night in the 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you wouldn't even recognize them. They live that Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde life, and they hope that they are never discovered. Because they can't be their true self. Okay. And maybe you can't be that wow thing during the day, but you have to discover something called balance. Okay. And we have to balance ourselves. This is why one of the things that I sell is, and I'm not saying you have to get it from me, but chakra balancing is extremely important. What is chakra balancing? We are made up of 7 energy points. If you don't want to go that way, you can go by the yin and yang, you can go by the I Ching, you can go by whatever you want, but it all means the same thing. You need to be balanced mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. If you are not balanced mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, you're going to run off the road. Okay. And this is what happens to a lot of preachers and ministers and political people. They have very high stature, very high morals, but in one particular area, they're dipping deep into the darkness. And they hope that no one never finds out about those skeletons in the closet. Okay. And all skeletons, the Bible says in time all things will be revealed. It's just a matter of time. So you have to learn who you are and to find out what will make you happy. So I love to use myself as an example. Okay. When I was growing up, as I said several times before, all of my family worked on the assembly line at General Motors. My dad was very macho. He loved working outside and cutting grass and fixing cars and whatever. I hate all that stuff. I hate bugs. I'm alert. If I get bit by mosquitoes, I'm itching and scratching. I hate getting hot and sweaty. I'm just the type of person I am. Now, I could pretend to be something I'm not. You can call me whatever you want, but I know myself. So I have never done those types of jobs, even though my dad was very upset with me and other people was like, Lynn, there's a lot of money you can make and whatever. The answer have always been no. I've always done office work or things like that, working in the air conditioning. Okay. Plus job sitting in. I never had a job lifting boxes and okay. I have passed a big opportunity where I could make big money, but that's not the type of person I am. And if I took one of those jobs for the money, I would be miserable every damn day because it's not something that I like to do. But some people are the exact opposite of me. Some people love to be outdoors, love to be things, love building things. And they got a job where they're stuck inside in the air conditioning and they're miserable. They would love to be outside. Okay. Because they have to be a respectable office worker or a nurse or whatever, and they want to be outside. They want to be a carpenter. They want to get their hands dirty. They want to do this, but they can't because their family won't respect that. Their friends won't respect that. So they got that office job sitting at a desk, and they despise it with a passion. To some people, it's so bad. And one time it got that bad with me, where just to go to work, you have to have a drink, you have to pop a pill, you have to do things just to be able to go to work. That's when you know the light has turned from yellow to red. Okay. Because you cannot do that. And if you got to take stimulants or pills or sedatives or have a drink or two just to go to work, you got the wrong job. No job is worth that. No amount of money is worth that. Okay. And if you're feeling that way, it doesn't take much to put you over the edge where you're going to have one of those episodes one day because you don't want to be there anyway. And you keep saying under your breath, I should tell these people where to go. And one day it's going to come out not under your breath. Okay. So that is one thing. If you need to change now, maybe you can't change jobs today. But maybe if you start working on it today, maybe you can have a job that you like 5 years from now. It's amazing to me how many people go to college and you ask them, oh, you're going to college. What are you majoring in? I don't have a major. Well, why are you going to college? Well, I'm taking my beginner courses and my course and my regular English classes and everything first, and I'm going to decide on a major later. Well, what do you think you want to major in? I don't know. The schools love that because you're going to take all these courses. And then when you say, okay, I want to go into medicine or I want to go to be this or that, they're going to say, oh, you took the wrong math class. You took the wrong English class. You took this. You got to retake these 4 classes over again because you took the wrong ones. You're just running up a lot of debt, spending a lot of money. I did a reading on a girl. And it was a young girl, around a year ago. And she wanted a reading because her parents was forcing her to go to college. She hated it with a passion. Because both of her, she had today, this is why a lot of young people are rebelling and not following, before, back in the good old days, the good old days. If your dad was a carpenter, like Jesus, he was supposed to grow up and be the carpenter. He was the carpenter's son. He was supposed to be a carpenter. Today, you don't have to be a carpenter just because your parents are carpenters. Or you don't have to be a lawyer because your parents are lawyers. They will try to push you in that direction, but you have to be strong enough to say, I don't really want to do that. And the problems with a lot of young people today to why they can't go to school in any major because there is nothing that they want to do. The only thing that they enjoy doing is drinking, watching, playing video games, and staying out all night. There is no job where the requisites are drinking, playing video games, and staying out all night. That is not a job. So they're constantly looking for this quick rich scheme that they can buy this and make money, they can do this and make money. They're looking for something that they can do with minimal effort and make a hell of a lot of money. And most of those are called scams. Because there's nothing in society that they're interested in. And why is that? How come the young people today, they don't want to get a regular job and do the regular things like the older people do? Because they see where that has gotten us. And they see that we're not happy. And they see that we're under all this economic pressure and money pressure, this and that. And they see that we're living a life and we're not, and we're miserable and everything. And we want our kids to follow our footsteps. Perfect example of this. I'm going to make some people mad. You know, I love to make people mad. It's what I do. I have met several people who are ex-military. Their favorite conversation is how the government screwed them over and how the government doesn't care about veterans and how this and that and how they didn't how they had to fight for this and how the government this and they lost out on this opportunity and they didn't tell them about this and everything, and how they just complain about the military, complain about the government all day. And then they say that they're trying to get their son to join the military. And I'm like, I thought you wasn't happy being in the military. Oh, I hate the military. Then why are you trying to get your son to go? Well, because I went in the military and my dad was in the military, so I'm going to try to get my son. Okay, if it didn't work out for you, why do you want your son to make the same mistake you made? That's not called logical. Let's see if what people are saying. Well, people are just agreeing with me, saying different things. Oh, I see some more people. I see, you know, a lot of people I know. I want to say hi to everybody. I want to say thank you for everybody. I see Belinda out there, and I see several other people. Uh, Angelia. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. But I see a lot of people. I know I can't say hi to everybody, but I want to see everybody. I want everybody to, to have a party. And if you got anything that you would like to add or whatever, feel free. But the point of it is that this is where we go wrong. And as parents, we talked just last week about we are born non-programmed. We are born as super animal humanoids. Our brains are not programmed. We have to be taught how to do everything. We teach our kids how to do everything. We're supposed to. When I was growing up and when I needed help and I needed this, and I would go and complain to certain people, and they would say, hey, when I was growing up, I didn't have nobody to help me. You got to figure that stuff out on your own. Why you expect people to help you out for? When I was a kid, I had to do it all on my own. So we have to reinvent the wheel over and over again, every generation. We know how hard we had it when we was trying to get on our feet. Then we want our kids to go through the same hell that we went to. We have to do it a different way. So let's get back into why, how come we're not happy? How come we're depressed? The main reason is, as I said, because we're looking for external gratification. We need to find happiness within yourself. So, what makes you happy? Don't say drinking, don't say smoking, don't say this or that. What makes you happy? And I'm going to tell you something that a lot of people discovered accidentally during the pandemic. Is what also happened to me. I'm a workaholic. I've been working since I've been 15 years old. And I always was running around trying to save the world, doing this and that, doing readings, working, doing everything. And then the government came along and shut everything down, put everything under quarantine where I couldn't even leave my house and I was stuck in the house. And, and I discovered something. And I asked myself, when I was sitting there, at first I was miserable just sitting there. And then after a while, I started to enjoy having some time where I wasn't constantly looking at the clock every 5 minutes, where I could actually do something, pick up a book, or I could play on my phone and just for the fun of it, not on my phone because I'm trying to learn something or do something, just relax. And that is now a new part of my life. I discovered something called rest and relaxation. And some days my life is very busy. I don't have hours. See, sometimes you don't have what is called quantity of time, but you can have something called quality time. And some days you can just sit there with a cup of coffee or with a donut or sometimes I like to just sit with my music and just take 10, 15 minutes. And sometimes when I was in a really big rush and everything's going crazy, I tell you a little secret I would do. And I'm not saying you should do this, but sometimes my life would be I would be in one of those states where my mind is going crazy. I would go to Walmart or a grocery store and I would park in the parking lot because I'm going to go in and get what I need. But sometimes I just sit in my car for 10, 15, 20 minutes and I just sit there. And sometimes just sitting in the car and watching the people, or sometimes I fall asleep and take a little nap. When you take that time to just take a breath, it takes a lot of anxiety and stress out of your day. I posted a video this morning about grounding, about walking around barefoot on the grass. Because we live a life where everything is like this. Just walking, just that's the reason why some people who have a dog and their life is moving like this, but they have to slow everything down for a few minutes because they have to walk the dog. And that relaxes them. Just walk down the street. Or some people in the morning like to go for their morning walk or morning jog. Or that's one reason why myself I moved next to a park. I very seldom go over there, but sometimes I sit and watch the people in the park, and that relaxes me. Now I like sometimes people going to the beach or going to the woods. I'm not a big hiking person or whatever, but I just like to see the view. Okay. Another simple pleasure that people used to do long time ago, super long ago, like 10, 20 years ago, people used to go for drives. And sometimes when I have a little time, instead of taking the freeway home, sometimes I take the back road home. And I'm surprised. Hey, they knocked that building down. Hey, I didn't know they built that new shopping center over there. Hey, I did this. Hey, look at that. Oh, they're building a new shopping center. They're building a new subdivision. And you see, that takes your mind off of just going in that continuous loop of your frustration, your problem, that build, that do this and that and everything else. You got to skip the record. You got to do that. And talking about that bill that's due, I'm under the new rule. Maybe you should be under the new rule too. I'm only allowed to buy things if it's going to replace something that is old, broken, or damaged. I have more, should I say that word? Some people say I have more they're treasures to me. But I have more stuff. Most of us do. We have so much stuff and we keep buying and buying and buying and buying. I can't buy anything anymore. I can go and look, I can go and observe, but the only way I can buy something is if I'm going to replace something else. But sometimes I still enjoy just going and looking at things. And I go and look, and I was walking around the other day. I went, I live on the Mexican border. I go, before when I used to cross the border, I used to spend giant money. I can go across there now and have a, buy a drink and walk around and see all the sights and touch everything. Sometimes I spend $10. Sometimes I spend $40. Sometimes I don't spend no money at all. It's just the thing of having something to do. But sometimes our problems are too big for us to handle for ourselves. Because there's death, there's, losing a job, there's problem with kids. Sometimes the problem is too big for us to handle on our own. What do you do then? Do you sit around and cry about it? Do you get drunk about it? The secret is you have to know when things get so bad and you start taking on water. You got to know when to raise the flag, when to say the magic word. I need help. And there's been people who have ended up on the street and everything. And there were so many people that was willing to help them. And they ended up in terrible situations. And people say, I didn't know that person needed that. I was just talking to them last week. I didn't know that their car was broken down. I didn't know they was homeless. I didn't know this or that. I didn't know they didn't have food to eat. I didn't know. Because your pride won't let you say anything. And I'm a very prideful person. And my life is very, very, very private. But when things get to the point where I'm taking on water, I let the world know, hey, I'm having trouble with this problem. I need to find a way to make some money. I'm having health problems. I don't know what's going on. I need to figure out what's wrong with my health. Whatever this thing, I start talking to people. I start talking to those people upstairs. I start asking for assistance. And then things start opening up. Normally, I like to work things out for myself. I don't like to bother people. I don't want to be a pain in the you know what. But there are times, 2, 3 years ago, there was a time that I didn't have a car. And I went several months without a car. And normally I was able to get here and there by, doing what I needed to do or talking to people. But there was times that I couldn't figure out I needed to go somewhere or do something and I didn't have a way to get there. And I would start talking, hey, I need to do this. I need to figure out how to do that. And someone would volunteer or this or that, or an opportunity would open up. You have to let people know. And sometimes things get extremely bad. Sometimes you're not just taking on water. Sometimes the ship is actually sinking. And in those times, you must go for help. Okay. And once and twice in my life, I had to actually stop my life and go for help. Okay. Once when I had a death that was very close to me and my life came crashing down. Another time, unfortunately, twice in the last few years where I have gotten sick, where I couldn't no longer work or this or that, and my life stopped. And you need to fix the problem and to get back on your feet again. And you have to know those points. Because if I wouldn't have, when the last time my health got really bad, I thought they was talking about, me being in the hospital for several weeks and this and that and everything. And I didn't want to go there. I was really worried about things. I needed to do something. And I went beyond. Normally, I do my little alternative medicine, this and that, and everything else. I had to put all that stuff on the shelf, and I had to go to see the big boys. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Sometimes your pride can get in the way. Okay. Let's talk about another thing. We live in a society today that's not as nice and generous as it should be. It's supposed to be when you need help, when you're reaching out, when you're having problems. People's supposed to be there to pick you up. Unfortunately, a lot of people today, especially your family members, when they see you down and out, they want to jump on top of you. And there's predators out there. You don't have to be in the water to have these sharks attacking you. There's people out there that's scanning the crowd. They're looking for the weak, the vulnerable, the this or that, so they can steal your purse, steal your car, rip you off, this and that. They're scanning for people that are not on their game. We have to help our fellow man. We have to look out for our friends and our family. Because there's the old saying, whatever you do to others will come back to you. And if you see others in need and you reach out a helping hand, when you're in need, someone will reach out to you. I'm a firm believer in that, and I have seen it myself. And we have to remember that, all of our lives, we have our crosses to bear. The glass is half full and half empty. We have several things going for us, and we have several things working against us. We can emphasize all the bad things that's going on in our lives, or we can emphasize all the good things that are going on in our life. That is called your perspective in life. Do you have a positive perspective or a negative perspective? Okay. And your perspective makes a big difference about you moving forward and your ability to move forward. Okay. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the second part of this subject, which is about your vibration and your energy level, and how you can, by changing your energy level, having a high energy level or low energy level greatly affect you and greatly affect the people that hang around you. Because if you have a very high energy level, high energy people hang around you. If you have a very low energy level, unfortunately, very low energy people hang around you. And if you're feeling down in the dumps and you're having a terrible day, you don't need all these low energy people dragging you further down into the mud. You need people to pull you up, to pull you out. So we have a few minutes. We got like 10 minutes before the end of the podcast. Let's get into, I still haven't seen any questions or anything. I never get any questions in these podcasts or whatever. Sometimes, okay. If you got a question, you can ask, but just let me know. But let's get into some things that you can do to balance and center yourself, to help you to feel better, to help you to deal with stress, frustration, anxiety, worry, a lot of things. For one, stealing the mind, meditation, prayer helps a very long way. There are people upstairs that are willing to help you and assist you. When is the last time that you asked for their help? But they are not Santa Claus. They're only there to help you to help yourself. They are not there to where you sit on the couch and watch video games and they're going to solve all of your problems. But they can help and assist you. Another thing that can help and assist you is when you're down. A lot of people, when they're depressed or feeling down and things like that, they won't eat. They quit taking care of themselves. They quit taking baths. They quit doing this. They quit. And then their health starts to go down. Okay. That is that spiraling effect. You have to do what you got to do. And getting up in the morning and getting up out of bed and not sleeping all day because you're sad or depressed, sleeping all day just makes you more tired and doing less, and you start going. And if you know someone who is doing that, you need to go and visit them. You need to go and talk to them. You need to go and sit with them, not bitch them out, but you need to show some compassion and something called understanding. What a lot of people doing today to deal with their problems is called having a pet. And you're going to say, well, how can having a dog or a cat help me with my problem? That's just another bill. But dogs and cats and other animals give something that money cannot buy. It's called unconditional love. And you're trying to be miserable and depressed, and that cat keeps jumping on your lap and keeps doing this and that and whatever, and that dog is wanting you to walk him and doing this and that and wanting you to throw the ball, and it is a distraction. And a lot of times people that own pets do better with stress and anxiety than people who does not. And it's very bad if you got stress, anxiety, and frustration and you live by yourself. and you don't have any friends and you just sit there with those four walls. You got to get out of there. You got to get out. Those walls will start closing in on you. And it can get very, very bad. Okay. Another thing is anxiety. A lot of people take pills for anxiety, this or that or whatever. Why is anxiety a problem today? Because people are worried that they might lose their job. They're worried about this. They're worried about how they're going to pay their electric bill. They're worried about this. They're worried about this. They worry. Okay. You need to prioritize. When I was out of work for over the pandemic, my money was super tight. You got to put things in priority. What is at the top of the list and what is at the bottom of the list. And you start at the top of the list and you go down as far the list as you can. And maybe there's 50 items on the list and you only get down to number 6. And then the next day you're going to start again. And maybe that day you're going to get down to the item number 12. But this is the secret of how you solve your big problem. The secret, which I tell people, the secret of eating an elephant is one bite at a time. You cannot eat you cannot eat an elephant all at one time. You cannot solve all of your problems at one time. You cannot get over the death of a loved one all at one time. But you can do it one bite at a time. And you're just going to take those baby steps at first. And you just keep on going. And the steps get larger and larger. And every day you're moving forward. And as long as you're moving forward, you're doing something called progression. And you have to reward yourself for the things that move forward. You have to, maybe other people don't pat yourself on the back, but you have to pat yourself on the back when you are able to move forward. Okay. And slowly you can start turning your life around. There's so many things that we can do. But we have to get out of this capitalistic society of where I'm going to buy my happiness. I'm going to purchase my joy. You cannot do that. Okay. Spending time with your kids. Having barbecues in the park or in the backyard. I noticed that during the pandemic. They took all the benches out of the parks. People was taking blankets and taking their families to the park and putting a blanket down on the ground and having a little picnic in the park. We forgot how to do that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff is very inexpensive. If you got kids and your money's kind of tight, you can just buy some lunch meat and a bag of chips and some soda, and you can have a picnic in your backyard. Kids love that. They just want to laugh and joke and play. Okay. If you're homebound, what I do sometimes, which helps my mental state, since I'm becoming an old man, what you have to know what turns you on, what makes you feel good. I love ducks. I love to go and watch the ducks. And over the weekend, I took some time and I went and watched my ducks. And I sat there for a while and I watched the ducks swimming around and this and that and doing whatever ducks do. But I just like watching them because to me, their movement is so erratic and they come together in groups and then they split up and they're doing all this stuff. And it's hard for me to keep concentrating about my sales and this and that, and then I have this appointment and I need to do this. When I'm concentrating, I'm like, why is the duck? It breaks, it skips the record. But what works for me may not work for you. Maybe you're not into ducks. What do you like to do? Okay. You need to be able to answer that. What relaxes you? I turn my music on. I love my new age music, which is, a lot of people, my new age music, it makes me, oh my gosh, I can turn my music on and I feel fantastic. Okay. When I'm stressed out, I have certain music I play. You need to work on this. We have to quit the external gratification. The next time you're depressed, you're not going to the shopping mall. You're not going to go out and just get drunk or buy a 12 pack or a 24 pack or do these things lead to more problems, not solutions. We need to be able to depend on each other. And everyone should know who their true friends are. And sometimes when I'm down, as I said, I'm a loner. I do a lot of things by myself. But I know when I need to talk to somebody, I know who I can pick up the phone and talk to. We have to do this because you're not allowed, the two things we do not control: the day we're born and the day we die. They know the day you enter this world. They know the day you're supposed to be back upstairs. If you show up one day early, you owe them an explanation of why. You stuck here until it's your time. Make the best of the time you have because I told you, God only gave you one thing, which is a quarter to play this video game called Life on Earth. And this can be heaven or hell because life on earth is a mixture of the two. It's up to you to make the best of this life we have. And if you turn off that TV, turn off the video games and all this other craziness, you can find the undiscovered country, which is yourself. You can find happiness with yourself. And then you can do the next thing is to find someone to share your happiness with. I hope I was able to give you some things to think about. If there's, if you need someone in every city throughout the country, there is suicide prevention hotlines, there's tips, there's support groups, there's all kinds of stuff. If you need assistance, there's no reason for you to just go through this all alone. There's so many emergency systems and things. Okay. We're lucky to live in this country. You need to know to take advantage of some of these systems that's out there. My name is Lynn David Livesey. I'm your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm here to help you. I'm glad you was able to listen and be a part of the podcast today. I want you to share this with your friends and family. And until I see you again, I'm going to zone out. And remember, you are never alone. You have friends upstairs that are always there to help you. You just need to pray, talk to your spirit guides, and they will assist you. And if there's anything I can do for you, you just let me know. With that, I'm Lynn David Livesey, your full spectrum Gnostic. I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Bye.